is my speech 1 for Communications 110. As you notice, I have 5 people in the room, including the cameraman, and I will begin. All right, good afternoon. I'm Thomas Merritt. I'm a current student at Columbia University. I'm majoring in criminal justice administration, and I decided to take Communication 110 this semester because I feel as a public speaker I have some weaknesses in which I need to strengthen, and this class will do just exactly that. The intent of this speech this afternoon is to discuss my strengths and weaknesses as a public speaker, as well as some possible solutions to strengthening those weaknesses. First of all, I'd like to talk about my strengths. I believe the more you do something, the better you get at it. And for that reason, this is the second time I've taken this course. I took this course back in '95 at Central Texas College, and I have used what I've learned from that course in speeches and the public speaking that I have to do in my day-to-day operations. Next, I feel that I have extensive experience in public speaking from the duties that I perform every day. I was an advanced initial training or AIT instructor at Fort Bliss, Texas, where I taught the 25mm Bushmaster weapon system to classes of 60 or more. I was also the battalion operations NCOIC, which the job entailed me briefing my battalion commander and battalion staff on a weekly basis. Next, I'd like to talk about my weaknesses. When you're up here giving a speech, you really never know the mistakes you make until you're either recorded and you watch yourself or you're critiqued. From watching myself and being critiqued, I've learned that I have 3 major weaknesses when it comes to public speaking. My first weakness I have is eye contact. I spend more time focused on the presentation that I'm giving than my audience. My second weakness is I forget who my target audience is. When talking to civilians, if I'm talking about a military subject, I don't explain the acronyms and the jargon, military jargon that I use, and I leave my audience clueless. The third weakness I feel that I have is I get too nervous and I don't practice my speech in front of people to get rid of that nervousness. Therefore, when I'm giving my speech, I'm stumbling over my words and my speech doesn't seem too well thought out or written. Lastly, the solutions that I've come up with are just 3. First, make eye contact with my audience and focus less on my presentation. 2, remember who my target audience is. Take the time to be considerate enough to explain the jargon and the acronyms that I'm using so that I don't leave them in the dark. And then 3, practice my speech in front of friends or family prior to actually doing it so that I look professional and my speech comes across in a professional manner. In closing, I would like to quote something from author Anthony Robert, when he says, exposing your weaknesses is the beginning of strength. And I believe by taking what I've learned in this class, putting it in this speech and all future speeches that I do, that I will be the public speaker that I aspire to be.